Howdy folks, hope you're doing well. We're going to take a look at the solution to project 1 here. So I think it went well for probably most of you. I know we got a couple last minute questions, but overall I think this worked out pretty well. And based on the lab exercise we did, I'm going to use functions or methods. You don't have to use methods for any of this, but I think it's a good exercise, a good chance to kind of break up a big problem into smaller problems and kind of see how do we take this big thing and take it into smaller and smaller and smaller chunks to make this easier to solve, right? So our lunar lander simulator, right? We're going to send it a bunch of commands to prepare it to land. We're going to have the distance to surface starting at 10, and then it's going to have x-axis tilt, a y-axis tilt. There are going to be random values between 10 and negative 10, and then some commands we can send. X-axis tilt positive or negative, y-axis tilt positive or negative, thrusters increasing distance by 2, do nothing. It just reduces, gets one closer to the surface, or activate our self-destruct sequence. If that's used, ask the user for a cancellation code, make up some value, don't let them enter the other commands until they cancel. If the command answer doesn't match, give them a list of valid commands. So if it's not one of these, right, we tell them, hey, here are the things you can do. Inside a loop that runs until it's landed, right, our distance to the surface is 0, we've landed. We'll ask for a command, do the command, or give them the list of valid commands. The distance from the surface goes down by 1 if a valid command was entered. So if you just entered gibberish, it doesn't go down. We'll pretend nothing happened. If we landed, right, our distance to the surface is 0, and the x and y tilts are 0, or not 0, it breaks, game over. Otherwise, we win. And all that goes in a loop, asking if we want to play again. So we can play this game over and over and over and over, as many times as we want. So a lot of things going on here. We'll just kind of slow this down and take it chunk by chunk by chunk here. So we're going to have an int for distance from surface, right? I was going to start off at 10. And then we're going to have a random x tilt, right? And, that's going to be a random value, random number, negative 10 to positive 10. Sure, maybe we can make that into a method, right? And the same with the y tilt, right? The idea with our methods is we don't need to have the same code twice, right? Generally, our rule of thumb is if you have the same code twice, you should feel bad about yourself. So the same code to generate a random number, negative 10 to positive 10, is the same code twice. So we're going to use a method instead. Okay? And that's it for starting, right? We have our starting values here, right? Distance and tilt. Okay, great. And then we can say, while my distance to the surface does not equal 0, let's keep on doing. Let's keep on going. We'll do something here, right? I'm going to keep on going. What do we want to do? Well, we want to get a command. So we'll have a string for command is, get command from user. Sure, that's a method. Get command from user. Why not? And then if it's a valid command, right, we can do that. If command is valid. Now, to know if the command is valid or not, we have to give it the command. And that's just true or false. If it's valid, let's go do something. Otherwise, we'll tell them you can't do that. You can't do that. Please enter. And I think some of the commands I showed, like x plus, x minus, y plus, y minus, just for some shortcuts here. You got lots of options. Thrusters, self-destruct, destruct, or nothing. Right? Those are the valid commands, right? So sure, if we wanted, this could be its own function, right? I mean, it's not going to hurt anything here. We could do that. So let me cut that out. We'll call this, print invalid, or print valid commands. Sure, and then I'll go make a method here before I forget because I cut that here. So I'll have a public static void. This is print valid commands. Doesn't need any arguments, and it just prints out. You can't do that. These are just some commands. Sure, that's all it does. Okay. So if it is valid, then we could have like a do command. I don't know. And sure, got lots of options here on how we want to tackle this. If we have to do the command, we have to give it the x and y tilts, and those have to change. So that gets a little trickier here. So we might just want to have, if it was this, do this. If it was that, do that. That sort of thing. And that might work out relatively well, I think, here. So we could say, hey, if my command dot equals ignoring case x plus, let's do something, right? If it's not that, else if my command is x minus, do something. If it's not that, right, well, let's do the next thing. Let's check the next one. So how about y plus and y minus? If it's not one of those, right, it could be thrusters, maybe. Thrusters. If it's not thrusters, it could be self-destruct. And then I guess there was a nothing as well, but we don't really have to do anything with nothing, right? We just, nothing happens. So if the command is valid, right, our distance from surface will go down by 1. If we wanted x plus, we could increase our x tilt, or we could just take x tilt plus plus. If it was x minus, we could take our y tilt or x tilt minus minus. If it was y plus, we could take our y tilt plus plus. If it was y minus, it could be our y tilt minus. Why is that over there? Control Alt L format. There we go. Control Alt L format is really handy. This code, reformat code, real handy. It'll line everything up for you here. If it was thrusters, we'll take our surface distance from surface plus 2, right? Plus equals 2. Add 2 to that value, please. If it's self-destruct, well, now we got another thing going on here. We can come back to that. I guess we could do that one now, right? We could say self-destruct sequence activated. Please enter cancellation code to abort. Sure. And then we get some input, right? So I don't know, get command from user. Maybe that's the same command if we're just getting some input here. Why not? Sure. So our command is equal to that. And while my command equals ignoring case, what do we want our cancellation code to be? Like 1, 2, 3, 4? I forget what we wanted here. And we want to say, well, it's not that, right? We want to keep on going here. So, you know, we could kind of cheat this here, and we could say, hey, as long as the command's not 1, 2, 3, 4, print self-destruct sequence activated, get the command, because we know command equals self-destruct. It's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even have to prompt again here. I can just say, okay, get the command, right, enter the code, get the command, enter the code, get the command, enter the code, right, over and over and over. Eventually they'll give me 1, 2, 3, 4, probably, or maybe we have to tell them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then self-destruct stops, right? And this could be like its own loop thing too if we wanted, right? This might make for a nice nice method. So maybe we do that. Maybe we have a let's do that. Let's do that instead. Let's turn that into a method. So this we'll call this self-destruct. Destruct. Right? We'll just turn that into a method over here. So our self-destruct public static void self-destruct, right, can pretty much say while command is not 1, 2, 3, 4, say it's activate. So now here we just have to say, hey, I want a string for command and say something that's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could do a do loop. Again, I just hate do loops because of the semicolon. That's really all it is. And how about get command from user? All right, let's say public static void get command from user. So if we're going to get a command, we need a scanner class, right? I like to call it keyboard. Again, you can call it anything you want here. It doesn't really matter here. Given no system.in here, and then we can tell them, please enter command. And then we can get the command. So a string for command will be the keyboard.next line. Now, a couple people had trouble with next here. Next is not what you want. You always want next, pretty much always want next line. For everything we're going to do, next line is where it's at. Right, that's the one we want here. And then we're done, we can return command. I'm sorry, this isn't a void method here. This is a string. We're going to return a type of string. So we can return that command. Right, so we'll set up the scanner, ask them for a command, get the command, return the command. Awesome. So now we can get commands. The random number. So this is a public static int here. Right? We're going to return an integer value. So if we want a number from -10 to +10, that's a lot of different values there. So -1, -2, -3, -4, right, is 10 values. And then 0 through 10 is actually 11 values. So it's 21 different values here. So we're going to have an int for random value is going to be math.random, right, times 21. So that will give me 21 different possible numbers. What I'm going to get out of that is 0 to 20, right? So I'm going to take all of that, do that first. Turn it into an integer, right? This integer casting here. I'm pretty sure we talked about this when we used random last time in that other video. So turn that into an integer. Now I have 0 to 20, and I just subtract 10 from that. So if I take 10 away from 0 to 20, I'll be -10 to +10. Then we can return the random value. Okay, and then the last one here is if the command is valid. Sure, let's have another one here. So this is public static. This is a Boolean here, given a string for command, right? I say, if you want to call this method here, you have to give me a string. I'm going to call the command. And this one's pretty easy here. We're just going to return command equals ignore case x plus or my command equals ignore case, x minus, or the command equals ignore case, y plus, or it equals a y minus, or it equals a thrusters, or it equals a nothing. Right? I think those are the only valid ones. X plus, X minus, Y plus, Y minus, thrusters, nothing. So if any one of these is true, if we OR them all together, this, or this, or this, or this, or this, with as long as they're ORs, anything being true will make the whole thing true. So it's great. It's right here. What a lot of people do, and it's not wrong, is just more work than you need to do, right? And good programmers are lazy, is people say, hey, if this whole thing here, and then some curly braces, because we always use curly braces, they'll say return true. And then they'll say else return false. If the only thing you're checking is if something's true, returning true, just return it. Just say return, right? That's all we need here, is we're just going to return that because we already know it's true or false. Right? We don't need to say, hey, if it's true, give me true. If it's false, give me false. We can just say, give me the thing. It's already true or false, right? Give me that value. Okay, so I think that ought to play once. Let's see here. So track the distance from the surface, x tilt, y tilt, random values, x tilt, y tilt, thrusters, do nothing, self-destruct. I'm sorry, that's another random value here. Or self-destruct. Self-destruct. Destruct. There we go. That was an important one to have. Again, nothing, we don't really care because it doesn't do anything. We take our distance from surface minus 1. Minus, minus. Right? Take 1 away. Keep on going. Right? Sort of it. Let's give it a try. Let's see if this works here. Give it a run. Maybe. Okay, please enter command. X plus. Please enter command. Oh, we're not really telling them anything, are we? We probably should tell them, right, before we do all of this, right? And, we could make this into a method if we want, but it's probably easier to just print it here. This is, I don't know, UR, and then, oh my goodness, distance. Wow, when I format strings, oh my goodness. Come on, format strings in Java. Sure. Substitution here, right? Distance from the surface, your x tilt, or I don't know, x axis, I don't know, is another value, and y tilt is another value. Sure. And that's a string we call .format on. Have we done this? I'm really trying to remember now if we've done .format or not. This is distance to surface, this is x tilt, and this is y tilt. Probably should remember those sorts of things if we had done that or not. Oh, so, okay, string.format. There we go, string.format. I don't think we've done this. Wow. What did we do for string formatting? All right, hang on. I'm trying to remember now. Let's go take a look at the repository. Did we do any sort of formatting? Format. Nope, we did a number format exception. Did we do like a %d digit? No? Okay, I guess we haven't done it yet. So, apologies here. We can just concatenate it in here. String format slightly easier, but no, this is fine. So, UR blank plus the distance from surface plus, start the string again. Right, your x tilt is, end the quote, plus x tilt. Plus, start the quote again, and your y tilt is, end the quote, plus the y tilt. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. That's probably a little more proper here based on what we've done before. Just concatenate those in. It's okay. I prefer formatting, but again, this ought to get the job done. We'll see if it works. Okay. All right. X tilt is 3, so we want x minus, x minus, x minus. We want y plus, and then ASDF says you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Sure. Nothing. Self-destruct. Enter command, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're 2 from the surface. Nothing. Well, it ended. We didn't say if we crashed or not, right? So when this loop is done here, then, right, this while loop. So if I touch a closing curly brace, notice it highlights the matching one. It says, hey, this one belongs to this while at line 44. Great. So when this loop is done, then I can check, hey, if my x tilt does not equal 0 or my y tilt does not equal 0, we crashed. Right? And you could do crash first or you could do land first. Either way is perfectly fine. You could say if it is 0 and the other one is 0, great. If they're both true, the whole thing's true, you land it successfully. Or in my case, I'm saying if it's not 0 or this one's not 0, right? We crashed. You crashed the lunar lander. No humans were hurt. Or something like that, right? And if you didn't crash, then we can say, hey, good job, you landed it. No. You landed successfully. Hooray, huzzah, sure. Right, that ought to play once. Now, if we want to do this whole thing over and over and over again, as long as people want to play again, we can have like a string, like play again equals, I don't know, how about like a y? And we can say while play again equals ignoring case a y. Let's do the whole thing. Right, and give that a little format. So now this one ends the play again. Right, come on, hover. Where do I hover? Am I not? Is it not matching? Uh-oh. Come on. Okay, there. It's just not highlighting it. That's super weird. There it goes. Okay, well, I'll play again is y. So this is an infinite loop unless we ask them if they want to play again. So do you want to play again? We can ask them, do you want to play again? And again, suggest, hey, y or n here. Now, we haven't actually used scanner at all inside of main here or not. So we can go use it here, I guess. We can say, hey, scanner keyboard equals a new scanner, given system.in. And then we can say play again is equal to keyboard.next line. Right? Now we have a yes or no. And again, this whole thing here could be a different function, right? This could be play again equals, I don't know, ask user to play again. Right? Why not? So we can have a function for that, or a method for that, sorry, public static string. Actually, let me put this up here because it's mostly the same as this other one here. I want to just copy paste it. This one here. Public static string, ask user to play again. Great. And we pretty much do the same thing here. After we say, do you want to play again? Do you want to play again? And then again, we can say y or n, right? Here's the suggestion here. Great. Now, you'll notice 3 of these lines are exactly the same here. So I feel bad about myself. Right now, this is just me being a little extra here, and I don't really need to do this, but this is a good illustration here. If the only thing that is different here is the message that's being spit out, right? We can have a method, right? We can have another method here. We can have a public static string get input from user given a string called the message. Now, what that can do now is it can spit out the message. Get the command, return it. So now all these ones have to do is they just will get input from user given the message. Please enter a command. And this one can say, hey, get input from user given, do you want to play again? Let me go here, right? Do you want to play again? That's it, right? So if those are do the exact same thing, and the only thing that's different is a value, we should think, oh, hey, that could be a method. How cool is this, right? We've got messages now. So getting the command from the user or asking the user if they want to play again, all just getting input. Now, we could just totally skip these now and just ask them and say, like, command is, please enter a command and use our own get input from user. We could do that. That's perfectly fine. But I like that this just has a name, right? We don't really care how it works here. We just know, hey, I get the command from the user. I kind of like that it's a name. Right? A named function just kind of gives me an idea of what's happening. So if I just look at main here, a lot of this is functions, not all of it here. Like this is a function or method. This is a method. This is a method. This is a method. These ones aren't. They could be if we wanted. It's probably overkill at that point here. Here's a method. Here's a method. Here's a method. This whole thing here could be crash or not. So let's cut all that out and say print crash or not, or I don't know, crash or land. Sure, why not? Let's go and do that. So we'll have another public static void print crash or land here. Now to figure that out, we need to be given the x tilt and the y tilt. An int for y tilt, right? So if you give me those two values, I can figure out whether or not we crashed or landed, right? So I just have to pass the x tilt and the y tilt. Sure, we can do all that. So now, kind of cleans it up here. We've got here's a method, here's a method, here's a method, here's a method. A couple things that aren't methods. We could do all of these things, but it's kind of hard to set values for x tilt and y tilt here if we're keeping track of them, inside a main. So there's ways to do it here, but it gets to be a little funky. So I think this is probably pretty good here. What do you think? And this print distance, we could turn into a method if we want, but then we have to give it the distance, the x tilt and the y tilt, that sort of thing. We could turn this into another method as well, like has landed or has not landed, right? That sort of thing, and return those values. So we could go nuts if we wanted. That's fine, right? We've got the choice here to go as many methods as we want here. Why not? We'll call this one has landed, given the distance from surface. Okay, so let's make a public static boolean has landed, given a int for distance from surface. Again, we don't need to say if something's true, return true. So this has landed if we have landed, right? Actually, this should be has not landed, right? We want to be if we've not landed, we want to keep on running here. So if we haven't landed, we're going to return distance from surface does not equal 0. If that's true, we haven't landed. I guess really we could even say greater than 0. It's probably even easier here, right? If the distance is greater than 0, we has not landed. And it's not really good English, but we has not landed, right? Is true. If it is 0, 0 is not greater than 0, it will give back false. False has not landed means we must have landed. So it gets to be a little bit funny here, but that's just kind of nice, right? We just have a name for it. Hey, has not landed, given the distance from surface. Get the command. If it's a valid command, sure, do the thing. Otherwise, print the valid commands. And on and on and on. So some people like their methods above main. Some people like the methods below main. I don't really care where you put them. Doesn't really matter much to me here. And we'll call that pretty good. Let's see if it works. Let's see if we can play multiple times here. So let me give it a run. Enter command. So let's see if we can just crash here. We'll just do nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, we never tried the thrusters, right? Thrusters should put my distance up to 8, right? Great. Nothing, 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 nothing. We crashed the lunar lander. No humans were hurt. Do you want to play again? Yes, let's play again. Okay, great. All right, so let's do x plus, x plus, x plus, x plus, y minus, y minus, y minus, y minus, y minus, y minus. Oh, we're about to crash. Let's do some thrusters. Thrusters. Okay, and now we can do y minus, y minus, y minus. Oh, I went one too many. Oops. Oh no, we crashed. I went y minus again from 0. Oops. That's okay. It probably is successful, and we land here, right? Because we know that else was working. So I think we're in pretty good shape here, right? We probably want. Okay, I'm feeling bad we didn't make it land here. Let's run one more time. Let's try one more. Okay, so oh my goodness, those are large tilts. Let me just start again. I want smaller values here because I don't want 10 and negative 5. There we go. 4 and 8. That ought to do it here. Let's go x minus, x minus, x minus, x minus, y minus, y minus, y minus, y minus. Thrusters, y minus, y minus, y minus, y minus, and we landed successfully. No, we don't want to play again. All right, cool. I think we tested everything out. We've got some methods. Again, you didn't need the methods at all. We did that as the lab for kind of a thought exercise. Hey, let's practice some of these things, and let's see how it works for us, okay? If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. If not, I'll work on getting yours graded here. I got to dig out of the backlog a little bit here, but we should be in pretty good shape pretty soon. All right, you folks take care.